Good morning, fourth grade. I know it's been a while since we had a video lesson, but I hope you enjoyed your spring break and are ready to jump into learning for our quarter four. In quarter four, we're going to start out learning about ecosystems. Before we begin to discuss about ecosystems, I want to refresh your memory about what we learned before spring break. So before spring break, we learned about environment. Environments are areas that are surrounded by air, water, and different types of organisms. There are many different types of environments, and we describe some of them like deserts, rainforests, and tundras. We were able to see that all these different environments had different soil type, different animals, and different weathers. In these environments, we found different organisms. Organisms are all types of living things. Living things include plants and animals. Let's take a look at this picture of this environment. This is a rainforest environment. On Edpuzzle, can you share of an example of an organism that you see? Thank you for sharing your thinking. I see a lot of different organisms, including plants and animals, like trees, leaves, and animals like a cheetah, a sloth, parrot, butterflies, and snakes. Now, there is also another name for environments. They are called ecosystems. Ecosystems are the communities of these organisms, plants and animals, that interact with all the non-living things like the water, the soil, and all these different organisms and non-living things work together like a community to make the environment flourish. For example, animals in an ecosystem can use the plants as food to give their bodies energy. What is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is a community of organisms interacting with its non-living environment. A terrarium is an ecosystem. When you put plants and a few small animals in a closed or semi-closed environment, the plants and animals are the living community. The soil, air, and water are the main non-living factors in the terrarium environment. An aquarium is also an ecosystem. Aquariums have communities of fish, snails, and water plants. Water is the main non-living factor in an aquarium environment. See, this is a terrarium and this is an aquarium. These are two man-made ecosystems that we can see. Terrariums and aquariums are two kinds of ecosystems. There are many more. When you go to the forest, for an example, you are visiting a natural ecosystem. Trees, grass, squirrels, birds, insects are some of the organisms interacting with the non-living environment in the forest ecosystem. Ecologists are scientists who study ecosystems. They find out what kinds of plants, animals, and other organisms are living in an area. They also observe properties and measure the non-living environmental factors in the area, like the air temperature, soil, water, and the light. Then they study how the community of organisms and non-living environmental factors interact. So ecologists are scientists that study nature to see how non-living and living organisms interact in an environment. Ecologists are able to learn a lot from what their studies. For example, they know living organisms need food to survive. Food provides matter and energy. What is matter? Matter is stuff. Everything that takes up space is matter. Air, water, rock, wood, metal, machines, buildings, and organisms are all matter. Energy makes things happen. Energy makes it possible for organisms to grow and move. Without energy, we wouldn't really, organisms will not have the enough, without food, organisms will not have enough energy to be able to move. Organisms use energy to sense the environment and to reproduce. Organisms get matter and energy from food, but the way plants get the food they need for life is very different from the way animals get their food. Let's learn more about how these ecosystems work and how plants and animals get their food. Plants are able to make the food they need for life. Plants get the matter and energy they need to make food from air, water, light, and the environment. Plants are able to provide their own energy themselves. However, animals cannot make their own food like plants do. Animals get the food they need for life from other organisms. The way animals get food from other organisms is to eat them. This is all a part of these ecosystems, how these plants and animals and different organisms interact to be able to have energy to be able to survive. Let's take a look at how plants are able to get energy. Energy for most ecosystems comes from the sun. Energy from the sun is captured by plants' green leaves. Plants use water, like H2O, carbon dioxide, known as CO2, and sunlight from the non-living environment to make sugar. This process is called photosynthesis. Plants then use the sugar as food. When animals eat the plants, the energy of the sugar transfers to the animals. But even though animals get energy from plants, it is really energy that came from the sun. All the energy that makes living organisms move, grow, and reproduce in most ecosystems comes from the sun. In this picture, you can see how the sunlight, water from ground, and carbon dioxide, which is air, mix together to help the leaves create food. And these help plants be able to grow with more energy. And when these plants have energy to grow, they are able to provide food for different animals. And it's all a part of one big cycle, but it's also a part of the ecosystems and how these all living factors and non-living factors are working together in order to be able to survive. During the next couple of weeks, we're going to be exploring ecosystems and how the organisms have this system where they are able to get energy from one another. If you have any questions, make sure you visit me during office hours or come by during my live stream. Have a good day.